Hey everybody, it's Matt from Advanced Behavioral Health checking in on you again today. Today we're going to talk about functions of behavior, or in other words, why do we do what we do? Well, we do what we do because it works for us. There's a reason for the stuff that we do. It's not random. And it's important when we're looking at our kids and trying to figure out why they're behaving the way that they are, is to remember that there's a function to their behavior as well. Think about some of the behaviors that we, as adults, as parents, that we exhibit, right? So some parents may be into exercising. Why do they do that? Well, there's a reason for it. They may want to lose weight. They may want to feel healthier and feel better. They may want to look better. Um, these are some of the reasons that someone might work out at the gym, okay? Well, our kids are no different. They do what they do because it works for them too. So it's really important to try and figure out what the function is of some of these behaviors that we see. So for example, if someone says, "Oh, my child is cries and cries and cries," okay, well that's good to know. But it's more important to know, well, what are the situations or the conditions in which he's crying? When is she more likely to cry and less likely to cry? And from doing that, you can start to figure out the context around which this behavior of crying occurs. And then you can start to feel out why it is that that behavior happens. You start figuring it out, okay? So for example, if you said, well, every time that I ask him to eat food he doesn't like, he throws his plate across the room and starts to scream and cry. You'd look at that and say, well, it sounds like the crying and the screaming and the plate throwing is about he doesn't want to have to eat that food. It's about avoiding that food, okay? So it's not necessarily just about the behavior you're concerned about, but more about the reason that the behavior is happening, okay? So when we think about behavior, you've got to be thinking about the function. What occurred before the behavior? What occurred after the behavior? The antecedent is the thing that occurred before, and the consequence is the thing that occurred afterwards. All right? Now, there's four common functions of behavior that behaviorists will always talk to you about. One is escape or avoidance. That's the example of the plate throwing for the food I don't want to eat. I do those behaviors because I don't want to eat, and that's a way for me to tell mom and dad, get this plate of food away from me. And especially if mom and dad take that plate of food and they say, okay, you don't have to eat it, then it works for me, and I will keep up that throwing and that screaming. Another example of a function of behavior is to get people's attention, okay? I am yelling in the middle of class, and when I yell in the middle of class, suddenly I get the attention of my teacher's aide and my teachers and even some of my classmates. And now everyone's looking at me and they're trying to figure out what's wrong and they're asking me questions and they're rubbing my back. And wow, I was really effective in getting their attention. Again, understanding the context in which that yelling is happening is really important because if you want to address the problem behavior of yelling, you've got to figure out why they're doing it. Okay? Another function is to get things that we want. For example, if I want the iPad that you're holding or I want the milk that's up on the shelf, I might do something like grab mommy's hand and pull, 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 or grab daddy's arm and scream, 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 scream. Well, if daddy's reaction is to lower the milk or give me the iPad, then it worked. I'll keep doing that to get the milk and the iPad. So again, you look at, well, when did the behavior occur and why did it occur? Okay? The last behavior is another category of functions behavior that's really kind of complicated. It's called automatic reinforcement. I'm going to save that for another day just because that's something we need to kind of tackle in and of itself. But for today, I want you to think about, again, the reason that we behave is not random. There's a function to it, okay? It's because it works. And if things work, we're more likely to do it again and again and again. So if you're looking at behaviors that you're concerned about, try and ask the question, why? Why is he doing this? What is he getting out of it? And what am I doing about that behavior that may be unintentionally, inadvertently reinforcing it? Because if I don't want him throwing the plate across the room, then I've got to find some strategies to make sure that A, he wants to eat the food or he's willing to do it, and most importantly, that he learns that throwing the food does not get him out of eating. Okay? So I hope that's helpful. We'll talk more about this soon. And in the meantime, you guys be well, Best of luck, and remember, it's hard work, but it's worth it. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.